Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to the library tour of Doom, where Lord Ganesha and I take you through the books in my library, book by book by book. And then we'll do my ebooks, and we'll do the books that I don't own anymore. We're going to do hundreds of thousands of books, one book a day, until we're all, except for Lord Ganesha, a lot older. And today, we're going back technically to 2015, but we're going back to a whole decade of the 2000s. This is War Music, an account of Homer's Iliad by Christopher Logue. And the reason I say that it scatters all over a bunch of years is because Christopher Logue worked on this. It is his own poetic transmutation of various moments in the Iliad. And he worked on it and issued it in little books over many years. I've had most of those little books at one time or another because the project is so thrilling, just so thrilling what he does here. It isn't a translation of Homer at all. It's something much weirder than that. And once you approach it the right way, I think you probably need some knowledge of Homer to approach it the right way. But once you do that, the reading experience is indescribable. It is Homer's Iliad and the sensibility behind it and the major events and characters in it filtered through the weirdest, most arch and momentous. They're just an incredible forward momentum, poetic sensibility that you could imagine. So that if you're a fan of Homer's Iliad, as I am, and if you're a fan of all the different various attempts to translate it, all the different ways that you can do it, as I am, then you just have to read this thing, because you're not going to encounter Homer in this way anywhere else. Very slangy, the meter, the scansion changes completely from one bit to the next. Very irreverent, and also not, Logue talked a lot about the work that he was doing, about the translating work that he was doing, but this could have been done purely from a shelf of English language translations of Homer. This is something else. This is something other than even a reconstruction. This is just weird. It is Homeric to its teeth, to its DNA. It is Homeric, but it's weird and powerful. And by a weird circuitous route, when you're reading these things, when you're reading, All Day Permanent Red or whatever, when you're reading any of the individual volumes that went into this one, or if you're reading this one, I was looking forward to this forever. I was thinking it would never happen. When you are reading these things, and gradually absorbing Christopher Logue's way of saying things, almost to the point where you can start to anticipate it, the weirdest thing happens, and it's a thing that demonstrates that he didn't stray too far from his own love, worship, idolatry of Homer, which is that even when you've read enough of these really strange funhouse mirror warpings of Homer's imagination, you start to get a very, very Homeric feel. A Homeric feel that is in many ways more vibrant and with more fidelity than you'll find in a scrupulous translation. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that happens. I guess that's just the mystery of poetry. I don't know how Christopher Logue manages to make that happen, but he regularly does. To the point where when you're finished with all this, it's not going to be anymore. This is the whole of these things that Logue did. By the time you're finished with it, you feel as if you have read a weird drug fever dream of the Iliad. And I can't think of the Iliad anymore without thinking of this as a kind of weird addendum. So I strongly recommend it, but it's a limited recommendation. I think you need to have read the Iliad. At the very least, I think you need to have read the Iliad, some translation into English or something like that. I think you need to have experience with the Iliad. I don't think just reading the Wikipedia page will do it in this case. Otherwise, there are huge passages here that are just going to be long, intricate in-jokes. And what would be the point of that? Why would you subject yourself to that? I think you should read the Iliad first. I haven't instructed you to do that. I have not made the Iliad a mandatory read-along on this channel because reading the Iliad is not a mandatory text. There's only a tiny handful of texts that are absolutely mandatory, things that you have to read. And the Iliad's not one of them. I wish that I could say that it were, but we did a mandatory read-along of Pride and Prejudice. And we haven't done a mandatory read-along of any of the other stuff that you absolutely have to read. But the Iliad wouldn't be one of them. But if you have read the Iliad, then you might want to try this. Maybe see if your library has it or any of the. You might want to like Google Christopher Logan, find out the names of the individual volumes. Maybe you don't want to sink in for the whole of their collection. Maybe you just want to get one of the individual volumes that came out over the years and see if you fancy it. If you do, then you've got this book to look forward to. This is all of them. But there you go. That is our library tour for today. It's not quite Homer. It's not quite Homer. I think in some weird kind of translation paradise, Homer would probably have recognized a lot of what Logue is doing. In fact, he would probably have greatly approved in ways that, for instance, he wouldn't have approved of, to take just one other massive stylistic gamble, Pope's Iliad. He probably wouldn't have approved of that, but he would, I think, have approved of this. It has all the savagery, it has all the poetry, it has the weird kind of beauty that's found in blood-soaked dust that tends to get starched, is very much present in Homer, but it tends to get starched out of English language translations. So the point I'm trying to make is there are elements that are intensely Homeric in war music, and that recommends it for me. So, but who knows what we'll encounter tomorrow? We shall see. I will adjourn for now, and we'll return tomorrow. Thank you, BookTube.